Hello and welcome, listeners and viewers, to that weekly High Vibe Tribe expert interview, where every week I like to bring together renowned experts from around the world on a wide variety of topics related to the mind, body, spirit, health, and transformation realm. And today is no exception. And my name is Liz Garcia. I'm founder of the Mind, Body, Spirit Network, and your happy host here at the weekly High Vibe Tribe Radio.com podcast and High Vibe Tribe TV.com YouTube channel. So just to get your motor running, I'm going to ask a few questions of you, listeners and viewers. And Jennifer, this is just, you don't need to, this is just not for you to answer.
Okay.
I was interviewing someone yesterday and she's like, is that a rhetorical question? I'm like, no, I'm talking to the audience. All right. So here we go, audience. Have you ever experienced healing through EMDR? Now that's a psychotherapy technique, right?
Yeah.
Jennifer, I forget what that stands for, EMDR.
It's rapid eye movement.
Yes, rapid eye movement. Okay. Cranial-sacral work, I've had that. That was helpful. Reiki or any other type of energy healing modality or alternative modality. These approaches can be effective in transforming emotional wounds and trauma experiences held in the mind and the body. Yet they typically require that you find a practitioner, and the results, although powerful, can take months and even years to manifest. Here's the question of the day. What if you could spontaneously and permanently transform emotional patterns that have wielded tremendous influence over your life, warping your beliefs? I love that word, warping your beliefs. That's good. Contributing to dis-ease. Like it's a really, I think everyone's really starting to get that these emotional patterns are like drumming this off pattern that doesn't work in the body. And limiting your capacity to access your authenticity, your soul gifts, and your joy. That's the question of the day. When I read it, I'm like, I need help with this. And I don't want to wait a year of therapy to do it. So our today's guest is suggesting she's got some techniques to help us in the moment transform something that may be going on within us. So I am a partner with the Shift Network, and our guest, Jennifer McLean, has an online event coming up on Wednesday, September 4th, 2019, for listeners that are hearing this after that date. And the name of that event is Energy Healing Practices for Spontaneous Transformation. Discover how to release negative beliefs and heal negative emotional patterns in the moment. I don't know about you, but that sounds rather enticing to me in a big way. And it's a free online event. So we're going to talk about details of that later because it's dated material. And we want you to get to know Jennifer because she's a busy lady out there. So Jennifer, welcome. How's it in sunny California? It looks like there's sun shining behind your head through those shutters.
Yes, it's beautiful, sunny California.
Nice.
Yes, and it's an honor to be here, Liz. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. So Jennifer is an internationally acclaimed healer, author, speaker, edge pusher, and transformational change agent. As a trained healer, Jennifer has helped individuals transmute their deepest fears, blocks, and old beliefs into new levels of alignment, growth, health, wholeness, and abundance. So Jennifer, I love that you call yourself an edge pusher. In what way are you pushing the edge, would you say?
There's a lot of us on the planet right now. Most of the people that are listening to your show here today are edge pushers. That means that we're on the head of the curve. We are on the head of curve of what I would actually call love. Mm-hmm. And when love is the strongest, most powerful healing energy on the planet. And those of us who are playing in a committed and engaged way with seeking and discovery and spirituality and healing, we are at the front of the line. Rather than sitting back and letting a doctor tell us what's going on, although that's important. I'm a big fan of doctors, especially functional medicine. but there's more going on than just what's happening with the symptoms of the body. And so edge pusher means that we are going past what the societal norms are, going past societal and cultural beliefs, and moving into a place where we start to understand the power that we have within ourselves to heal and transform, and quickly too. It can happen really fast. So I've always been a bit of an edge pusher in everything I've done. I'm usually on the front of the curve. It's just what my soul wanted me to play with this lifetime. And this is an extraordinarily important time for all of you edge pushers to join together in places like this and on the shift to start claiming our power, start claiming the love that we are, start claiming the light that we are, that actually creates profound and tremendous transformation of our physical body, of our emotional bodies, of our mental bodies, of our circumstances. And that's really important. But really, when we heal ourselves, we are healing the whole planet. You know, we're part of this web of humanity. If you think of it, they keep showing me, my guides show me that it's like a spider web, and all of us are on the spider web. And when one of us transforms and heals and knows who we are, that's really what healing is. We actually know who we are. We scoop out all the junk that happened from 0 to 9 years old. We heal it and transform all those warped beliefs that we created back then. When we do that and we claim our power and our light and our love with confidence, with knowing, with faith and trust, we pluck the web of all of humanity, and everyone gets to have another little piece of healing. And, you know, you've heard the 100th monkey.
I read it.
Right. The edge pushers are the monkeys.
Yes.
That are listening and are in group consciousness and are together creating a transformation that will wake up everyone.
Do you know Jean Shinoda Boland? She's on the Shift Network?
I don't.
Okay. She wrote a book based on the 100 Monkeys, and that's who I interviewed yesterday.
Oh, wow. Right? Synchronicities.
Yes.
That's another thing.
Yes.
And so some of you might be listening to this and hearing a few things. It's like, hey, I just heard that. And there's the healing technique that I use is similar to other people's healing techniques. There's no accident there. We're not copying each other.
Right.
It's just that the information is coming through to us edge pushers, to us transformational change agents that are on the front edge of this wave. And we're all getting very similar information at the same time. And you might notice that a lot of these new healing techniques that are coming through, well, in my case, it's not new. I've been doing it for almost 3 decades. But it's new in that I'm bringing it out to a broader audience, and I've also refined it. So the refinement that's happened in the last 5 years is pretty profound for most people who are healers with their own system. Oh. They've been refining it. And what that refinement is acceleration. What that refinement is it's fast. You can do it quickly. You can do it in the moment, and it creates real instant, and permanent transformation that layers and layers and builds and builds and builds, so that we can become these really powerful beings of light and love, and know that we are, and just be authentically ourselves, which is actually the end game.
Nice. All right. We're going to talk about your technique in a minute.
Sure.
Jennifer. I was just reading an article that was posted in Kripalu that you wrote.
Yes.
And I don't know when that was written. It could have been a while ago, but you mentioned something that Jean spoke of yesterday. And so the two of you are on the same page for sure, and all of us having this conversation. And you brought up Carl Jung.
Yes.
He talks about when the collective unconscious starts to get together.
Yes.
This is like the web you're talking about.
Yes. It creates a critical mass.
Critical mass. And she mentioned the same thing.
Wow, that's cool. That's really
very cool. And when you mentioned the spider web, I thought of Charlotte's Web when a fly landed on the web, she knew it, right? And she'd go get the fly. It's like, I get it.
Exactly.
Huge.
Everyone at a very deep unconscious level, mind you, but everyone on the planet knows it when you've claimed your power. Now, again, this is way beyond the law of attraction. Like, quantum levels beyond it. The law of attraction was this wonderful. I don't know why I mentioned that, but for some reason, some of your audience members are curious. I could kind of hear their question.
Oh, nice.
And so the law of attraction was this beautiful crack in the door that allowed us to think, wow, I'm powerful enough to maybe possibly have an inkling of being a creative power.
Oh, yeah.
That was a crack in the door of our cultural beliefs that created a really powerful expansion for us to be having this conversation right now.
Yes. So it's interesting, Jennifer. I told you I studied Dr. Hawkins' consciousness research.
Yes.
And he mentions, the law of attraction people are always trying to get you to accept that you're the creator of your own experience. They always asking you that, like, every time, every day. And that's a level of consciousness on the map, which is like 350, that when you're willing to accept this, it calibrates as true that it exists, that you are the creator of your experience at this level. It is true. And when I first heard that, I'm like, I was angry. I was all up in arms. I'm like, I don't think so,
Yeah.
But anyway,
yeah.
It's interesting. So I'm teaching this in my podcast. It's like, all right, I know you may not like the sound of it, but you are the creator of your own experience. And when you're willing to step into the power of this, then.
Yeah, that second half is really powerful.
Yeah.
And the questions that the cynics will immediately say is, what about Hitler? What about children who are blah, blah, blah? And, and it's like, it's like it's a vibrational frequency. It's a state of being. And there's all kinds of interesting twists and turns and angles to it that is difficult to answer, those kind of questions.
Right.
And again, I'm kind of hearing some of your audience asking questions like that, which is, it's just imagine that we are beautiful, amazing souls. And we have, before we come to this time on the earth, we had a strong intention of what we wanted to do to evolve. We had a strong intention. And so, I'm one of those kids who was sexually abused, and there's alcoholism and narcissism. And there's no question that part of my soul wanted to experience it so I could be the person I am today, helping the hundreds of thousands that I've helped in my career so far as a healer.
Yeah.
There's no doubt that I've had pretty much every upset you could imagine.
I read your list.
Yeah, right. Cancer and
got them all, baby.
Extreme adrenal exhaustion and I came out of that experience really very confused, as you would imagine. And there's a lot of people that have had that experience. And so I get to say, I get it. I understand. And I know that my soul chose that in part so that I could do what I'm doing now. I think I'd also experienced that in part because my soul this lifetime really wanted to understand love, level 10 love. And what my guidance has revealed to me is that in order to experience level 10 love, guess what you have to experience? It's opposite. And it's not just 0 to 10. So it's not just 0 love, it's minus 10. So if you want plus 10 love, you're experiencing minus 10 love, which is pain and suffering. And again, this is my belief. You don't have to believe this. Here's what I do. I choose beliefs that feel great. I choose beliefs that make me feel lighter and open. And that belief helps me. It helps me to understand why I've had the life that I've had. It may not be true, and all of us will know once we die and get to the other side what was true or wasn't true about these amazing philosophies that are on the planet right now. But choose beliefs that feel right for you. If that one doesn't feel right for you, don't choose it.
Right.
That's the new thing about being an edge pusher, being on the cutting edge, is that you get to decide what's right for you. You get to decide what someone says to you, if it's appropriate or not. One of my biggest pet peeves, sorry, I'm getting off topic here, but one of my biggest pet peeves is psychics and astrologers that tell you who you are definitively.
Oh.
And, they say, you're not going to move until this day. You're not going to find this guy until this day. And here's what I know. I trust your soul implicitly. And I trust your soul created that moment to support you in some way. And it's not that the answer is correct. It's that the answer is there for you in that moment to decide whether it's right for you or not. Sometimes the most powerful expansion comes from someone delivering wrong material for you and you saying no.
Right. Hell no.
Right. Hell no. That's not who I am. You're told that's not it. And you can politely say thank you very much and leave and say, wow, I am really powerful. Right? Instead of giving all your power to what they just said about you. Same with doctors, with the diagnosis. The diagnosis is important. Sometimes it's great to get a diagnosis so that you can take action on the physical with functional medicine and with alternative medicine. And sometimes the diagnosis is a freaking wake-up call and that to make some changes in your life. It's not, anyone that says terminal, it isn't terminal. Look at Anita Moorjani, right? Anita Moorjani wrote a book called Dying to Be Me. She died after going into coma with stage 4 lymphoma. Her organs were shutting down. She went to the other side, talked to her dad, talked to some people, came back. 5 weeks later, her cancer was completely gone, stage 4 lymphoma, and had died. So, there's lots of examples of that, right? So you are so powerful. We all are. And that's where we're all heading, is recognizing our power, knowing and remembering who we are, putting back together, remembering who we are as our power and light. Looking at the world and our life now as supporting us in this understanding of who we are, that nothing is going wrong, there's nothing broken, there's only life showing up in its different hues and densities of love, nudging you to an expansion that might not be possible without your current circumstances. Okay, I'm going to get off my soapbox now.
It's a good one. You're speaking for me, so that's good. You're speaking for many of us, Jennifer.
Yeah.
And I just went to, we had Anita on for an interview probably 6 or 8 weeks ago, and she's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
And so loving to listen to, I shut off the video and listened to the podcast. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much healing coming out of her voice. It was great.
She's an amazing person, yeah.
But I just saw a movie, The Farewell. Have you heard about The Farewell?
No.
It's along the topic of what you're actually saying. It's about this Chinese grandmother, and the whole family gets together back in China.
Yeah, I did hear about this.
In the beginning of the story, it's called The True Story About a Lie. And I don't want to give it away.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to give it away. But the grandmother is told, tells the family, apparently in China, you don't tell anyone that you're going to die.
Right.
You're just let's let it go. So, and she's super happy, loving, light, she's an edge pusher.
Yeah.
When you see her, that's all I'm going to say, but it's along the same thing that you're saying here. It's a beautiful story and true story about a lie.
Right. True story about a lie. Yeah. And the opportunity is to move through our life in a new state of what I call grace. And grace to me is present, clear, centered. The fog is gone. Looking at my space as mine and their space as theirs, and knowing that everyone has a really, really good reason for behaving the way that they're behaving. Everyone, without exception.
Yeah.
So if we can start looking at people in that way and ourselves in that way, if we can look at our crazy, wonderful, amazing, beautiful, warped minds that are making wild and crazy conclusions about what's really happening that isn't really happening, that how it has to happen in order for us to be happy, which isn't real either. When we can have compassion for ourselves and hold space for ourselves, and then in turn have the presence and capacity to have space for others, we create a whole different paradigm in our lives and for everyone. Because when we're clear and centered and present, we can actually understand and have compassion for another's motivations. They're over there doing their shtick that is a result of something that happened in childhood that impacted their conclusions about who they are, what life is, and now they're playing in this dynamic of wild and crazy coping mechanisms. And you can't believe the warped coping mechanisms we create to feel safe. And so when we understand that we're doing it and they're doing it, we now have a new place to have a different conversation.
Nice. That's a big part of, what I want to get across. And I'm still working on compassion and understanding.
Yeah, compassion is not something that you can be. It's something that you are.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to have compassion when someone is pushing your buttons. It's hard to have compassion when here's what we do. We have an energy signature. David Hawkins talked a little bit about this. We have an energy signature, right? And so that energy signature is rippling out into the universe, attracting like energy signatures. So if there's something deep in our subconscious that happened in childhood that we've made a conclusion about, that we said, oh, I'm not good enough, then that energy is in there. It's there. And it's a signal. And it is signaling someone to say, yes, that's right, you're not good enough. Right? So there's this amazing co-creation, this tango of spiritual, vibrational energy that is happening.
Yeah.
And if we can now change our angle of perception on it and look at it and say, okay, this person is here because there's a little part of me that's ready to heal. And that's all that's happening. The situation is here, the circumstances in here because I am ready to transform. I'm ready. It's here because I'm ready. It's here because I have the capacity, the wherewithal, the strength, the power to actually use what's being revealed to me now about this energy signature of me to actually heal up. So if we can look at it that way, life becomes way more graceful, way more easy.
And kind of comical too.
Yes, that's a great point. We actually start to giggle at ourselves.
Yeah.
My friend Dee Wallace does this wonderful thing where she self-talks, where she's like in a reaction and she's noticing the reaction that she's in. And she said, okay, Dee, you know this. You've been here before. You know what this is about. What are you going to do? I mean, she just has this inner dialogue with herself. And by the end, she's laughing.
Yes.
And the part of her mind that was upset is also laughing.
Yeah. This is a huge one for all of us to grasp. And I had opportunity for button pushers yesterday.
Yay, you. Congratulations.
Yes. And, one of them was a family member, which is always the biggest button pushers that you want to ignore and just react to. Right?
Yep.
But the other one was someone I just met saying the same thing. And I'm like, you know what? They're showing up. This is where we got to take responsibility. They're showing up, showing you. You're asking for it. What I want to change, well, life has got to send you someone to help you push the button to make you aware.
That's right. To bring your conscious attention to it.
Yeah.
That's another key part of healing is when we bring conscious attention to the pattern, to the thought that's been created, to the underlying subconscious fuel that is fueling that thought. When we become aware, I call it noticing, and I call it shining the light of consciousness on it, we actually create healing and awakening in that moment. So 80 to 90% of all healing happens in that moment.
Ooh.
When you look and say, two people just told me the same thing and I'm reacting. When we're reacting, it's ours, 100%. If we are in reaction, if we've been hurt, if we've been angered, it's ours. That's the clue. And is there some culpability for other people? Of course, but it's not going to change until you take that moment to say, what am I really feeling? What's going on here? And then I recommend doing the STT system of healing in that moment, which takes about 10 minutes.
Okay.
Actually unwind and heal those parts of us.
So this was a great segue right into this without giving away the farm of what's going to happen at the Shift Network. So yeah, we're only on paragraph 2 of your bio. So Jennifer's innovative spontaneous transformation technique, that's what she's talking about, STT, has helped hundreds of thousands over 3 decades shift held energy in the body to successfully liberate themselves from old hurts and patterns of obstacles that lead to disease and upset. So I think it's important just to kind of reiterate, any old thoughts and patterns are creating the disease in the body. Like Louise Hayes talks about, her You Can Heal Your Life. It's a great reference book to say, okay, my kidney feels this way. I go look it up. I'm like, all right, what's the thought going on there? And to really put the two together. And I find it transformational to use her affirmations as an example to
Yes.
give it attention.
So I take this way, way deeper, because here's the problem. Here's the problem with affirmations, and affirmations are great. Affirmations are fake it until you make it, essentially. And a lot of people have, especially now, because society and the world and our culture, and there's so much stress that we don't have the time to fake it until we make it anymore.
Yeah.
There's a way to use affirmations that are a little bit different, that I use them as part of the STT system, which is to say the affirmation and notice that it's a lie.
Yes.
Because if it were true, it wouldn't be happening. Louise Hay's book is fabulous for this.
Yeah.
Look it up and realize that the affirmation that you're saying to reverse it isn't true.
Right.
You don't believe it. That's the problem, right? It's not going to shift until our beliefs are in alignment with that. And so what's next? Well, we've got to go into the subconscious and find out why that belief is there. We've got to go into the subconscious and unwind and heal that why. And that's what the spontaneous transformation system does. It actually goes into the core reason and actually unwinds it. So again, we've been given, in the 80s and 90s and 2000s, we were given these amazing, amazing peaks inside how to heal. We were given law of attraction and thoughts create things and Louise Hay's material. I was a huge fan of Louise Hay. She got me started on this path.
Oh.
In the 80s, I went to one of her events when I was living in Toronto. And I to this day, I love her work. I love that little blue book. I don't think it's the little blue book anymore, but
nice.
I love that book. And and all of it was leading us to this moment where myself and other healers like me are finally able to get us to the point where we can actually go in and unwind and heal these deep subconscious things that happen. Really, neuroscience has proven that from 0 to 9 is what we're still living. The conclusions we made back then, the beliefs we made back then, the emotions we repressed that back then, the coping mechanisms and patterns we created to protect ourselves back then, that's what's running the show. And so if you look up in Louise's book about your kidneys and what's the affirmation for that, the affirmation isn't going to do it, because that 9-year-old is still saying, no, you're not changing this one. I'm protecting this for dear life. And STT moves into the subconscious and actually clears that without re-traumatizing, without going back into that same memory. And I think that's why it's been so powerful.
Oh, nice.
It's why people have, I have one of my clients had terminal cancer and she's not terminal anymore. And why people are genuinely healing, genuinely changing their life. And creating new circumstances, yes, but more importantly, they stand in a place of power and grace and space that allow, no matter what shows up, they're able to be in the moment with it and claim and see and know and embrace the resources that come with every problem and challenge. And all of it is this wonderful part of the adventure of the soul that all of us are on here.
Yes. I don't know if you ever heard of the book, The Afterlife of Billy Fingers.
My favorite book, Annie Kagan. I love that book. I talk about
that killer or what?
I had Annie on a couple of times on
did you?
Dealing with the Masters. Yeah, I love her. Love that book.
That was a huge healer for me. In a big way.
After my sister passed away in 2013, and suddenly she had an aneurysm. And that book,
are you kidding me? Did you say, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it was tough.
I'm sure.
But that book really, really helped me. That book helped me.
Yes, that was a huge healing light in that book.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's get back to the spontaneous transformation technique for a second. Sure. You have hundreds, now thousands, about 1,000 certified practitioners.
Yep.
And this popular technique is reaching more and more people who accelerate healing and elegantly resolve old beliefs and upsets. Jennifer combines her powerful intuitive gifts, and we're getting a little dose of that today. You've got guidance there. Nudging you.
Yeah.
with emotional and spiritual discernment to assist you in lovingly identifying and compassionately releasing and changing the old neural pathways that have kept you from living a magnificent life. So the change, according to Jennifer, starts immediately by simply being in your presence. Thank you. I'm just going to sit here for a minute.
Well, let me talk about that for a minute. You know,
Yes.
the spontaneous transformation system actually has a frequency kind of like Reiki. And so I actually do an STT frequency that there are two courses that you can take with me. One is to learn how to do it for yourself, which is the most important actually.
Yeah.
And then there's a practitioner program. You have to take the one for yourself first. And you have to do it for yourself in order to be a practitioner, because when you're doing it on yourself, you're healing, you're expanding the energy. But both of them have an attunement. The one that you just learn it for yourself, I turn on the STT frequency. So, and then with practitioners, there's 6 more attunements that come with that program. And it turns on all of these frequencies of the STT system. So right now, the STT frequency is here and present. And what I've noticed that it actually does is STT is an healing accelerant. And so the frequencies themselves actually create a space, if you will, a frame of support that allows an acceleration of these concepts that we're talking about. So some of you that are very discerning might notice that some of the concepts you're nodding to very quickly that you might not have before. Some of you might be noticing some changes in your physical body. And that's all real. That's part of the STT system. That's part of the frequencies that are here in support. And they're just extremely supportive. I think the intention behind them is to support you in an accelerated way, because I don't know if you notice, the world is a little weird right now. We need to accelerate you to really get into this place where you can be that edge pusher.
Nice. So, you know, when I mentioned this to Jean yesterday when I was talking to her, and I've kind of come into my own awareness of like, you know what, I need help from, let's just use Warren Buffett as an example. I'm like, I have access to the consciousness of Warren Buffett.
Oh, that's cool.
Call it in. Jean.
That's cool.
Why
I like
not?
that a lot.
Just call in the energies of whomever you want to model. And I always kind of filter it. I'm like the ones of higher consciousness that represent Warren Buffett, those energies of higher consciousness that kind of, he's a financial genius and he's a sweetheart. You know, he's very lovable and grounded. And I was talking to Jean, who talks about the 7, the archetypal energies of the goddesses, Greek goddesses. And I'm like, Jean, could you just call in that energy? Why not? I told her about that. She's like, oh, and she kind of thought about it. I'm like, And like, so I kind of,
that's really cool. That's absolutely true. I love that.
Thank you.
That's right. Let's tap into someone that we really admire, someone who is doing what we want to do, and call in their energy. And I would, from my perspective, I would call it in at the soul level. So it'd be like soul to soul. So that all the muddle of 3 dimensions and separation is removed, and it's their soul and our soul having a really cool conversation. And that's how I would. That's how
perfect. Yeah,
that creates a lot of clarity.
Nice. All right. So
I'm going to try that. That's really cool.
All right, take that one to the bank, honey. For sharing that. All of this stuff is, you know, Dr. Hawkins talks about, and you already mentioned it, that in the field of consciousness, stuff is already going on. And some people like, I thought of that first, like, you know, it's already being addressed within the context of creation that's asking for it.
Yep.
Right? So we all, it's like, oh, we're doing this together.
Indeed. We are in this together. There's no doubt about it. And we are one. That's in part why we could tap into someone we admire, because we're one. We're part of them. They're part of us. Yes.
Cool. All right. So go out there, make a list of everyone you want to tap into, and be sure to filter out the stuff and go straight for the soul level. All right. So you're the author of 5 books. Could you name 1 or 2?
Yeah. Well, my one book is out of print. It's the Spontaneous Transformation Technique. And
Oh, okay.
I also wrote, I'm actually working with a publisher to get the new one out. We're pitching that now. It looks like Random House might take it.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, it's exciting. And I also wrote a book called Credibility Branding, which is my system of marketing that I did when I worked in corporate America. I worked
Right. I remember. Okay, we have this in common.
Yes, I was a brand specialist in the tech industry, specializing in startups. So I was there I launched Yahoo Canada in 1995.
You launched what?
Yahoo Canada. Oh. Yeah, in 1995.
Oh.
So I was in that really accelerated, powerful time of technology just going crazy, especially the internet. And so my specialty became startups. I worked with tons of fairly well-known brands in the tech industry. And I created the system of marketing that I actually used to start my own business eventually. And so I wrote that book as part of that.
Are you marketing that system anymore? Or?
No, not really.
You're busy.
I did a little bit of I did about 3 years worth of coaching entrepreneurs on how to start their business, but it's not where my heart is in the spontaneous transformation system of healing. That's where my heart is.
Nice. So I launched a website called the Athena Arena, and it's all about personal branding. And I love the website. I love what I've done with it, but my heart's not into doing it.
Yeah, I know. That's many of us are coming to the point where we're noticing what we're really good at and what fills our heart, and then sometimes they don't match.
Right.
And it's okay to do what we're really good at. I mean, part of the reason my business has been so successful is because I'm a really good marketer. You know, I've been trained in it for 20 years before I started my business. So I use it every single day. I know, I use it every single day as a skill. But again, when I started to go outside of what my mission is, which is healing, I think what I'm going to next is a little bit more entertainment, healing entertainment. That's probably where I'm heading. I'm writing a musical right now, and I'm moving into some fiction. So, but when I went back it was a backward move. It felt like when I went into marketing again, teaching marketing, and it did have healing components because I would never leave that behind. The healing part is what helped the entrepreneurs the most. The marketing part is, you can learn that anywhere. And I'm pretty good at it, but it just didn't feel right for me.
Yeah.
So I kind of moved out of that. And I still might I'm actually considering doing a little 3-month coaching program to talk about the energy of copywriting, the vibrational energy of creating your brand and, and creating trust and a value exchange. So, there's stuff that's energy components wise that would make sense for me to do. I might still do that because that would be fun.
Right.
As long as it's energy based.
Yeah. My interest in branding is really within the context of understanding consciousness and healing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for me, it's not only consciousness and healing, but where it sits with your ideal customer and your community. Like what community, if you were surrounded by this huge community, who would they be? What would they need from you? And then there's this beautiful co-creation that happens because from my perspective, the community that I've created, there's no doubt about it that they tell me what they need. And that's what I create next. There's no doubt in my mind that happens. And I bring a lot of conscious awareness to a process to do that, to tap into them and say, what is it that you need next? And then I create what's next for them. And so they're fueling the ideas. There's no doubt that my customers tell me what they need, and then I deliver it. And I think the work with the Shift Network, there's a bunch of customers that I don't have that have called me to say, because I've been really refining this work over the last 5 years, and it's gotten to the point now where it is pristine and it's really 10 to 15 minutes and it really, really works. And I think those people are now saying, okay, a new group of people are saying, I'm really, really need this. I'm really ready for it. And yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting time for me and exciting to get this work out into the world in a bigger way. I'm super, super excited to be on the Shift
Nice.
platform.
So before we talk about your event, which we're going to
Yeah.
do right after this last question,
Sure.
I noticed you have something that's been around a long time, Healing with the Masters.
Yes, yes. Healing with the Masters, it's interesting. The credibility branding is what I use to start that. I quit corporate America. I was a brand specialist and a public relations communications expert, specializing in startups in the tech industry. And I was freaking burnt out, like beyond burnt out. And I had created a vibration within me that created an external thing out there that said, I'm not appreciated and respected. And it showed up over and over again. And I was constantly fighting it, and I was exhausted. So I walked away cold turkey from it. I had a really healthy 6-figure salary, and I decided I was going to be an Aflac insurance salesman.
Oh, I do love the duck. I mean, the duck makes sense.
Aflac. So
oh my God, that's like
my mind was, I just had to have something to land on. I'm a Taurus, right? So I couldn't just leave.
Oh, okay.
So it took me 3 months to take all the courses and get my insurance license. And I passed, and I sold Aflac for 2 weeks. And I'm like, I'm going to kill myself if I have to do this for another week. So that was that, but it got me out of corporate America. Then I decided I was going to throw my hand into online marketing. I'm a brilliant marketer, so I've got to be good at this. Oh my God, it was so hard. So I threw all my eggs in that basket, and it failed miserably.
Oh, ouch.
And so I was, 10 days away from living in my car.
Oh.
And it was bad time. And that's the moment that I actually created one of what I call the quadruple healing multipliers. I have these 4 things that are part of the spontaneous transformation system, and one of them is attunement. And the first time I did an attunement was that day on myself. It was the attunement of power, and it changed everything.
Ooh.
And then I went back to doing marketing freelance. I got back to my healthy 6-figure salary. And because I was able to do that, I had the space to then create my healing business. So my intention was to be a healer. My intention was to use the credibility branding system of marketing to actually start my healing practice. So I decided to create this telesummit, totally my idea. I was going to interview people. My dad was a talk show host, so I knew about interviewing. He had coached me.
Oh, nice.
He had a national show in Canada. And so I'm going to interview the leaders in healing and spirituality, and based on the credibility system of marketing, by proxy, being associated with them will make me a leader, which actually did happen. Now, then I created a coach, Ellen Britt, who showed me how to monetize that model. And so the great news is that I started this amazing healing summit called Healing with the Masters. It's a media franchise that went for 17 seasons. And I interviewed the top people in spirituality, like the tops.
I saw that.
And like Wayne Dyer, Marianne Williamson, those kind of people. And so Ram Dass, wow, that was the best interview of my life.
Really?
He's an amazing soul. Anyway, so I interviewed all those amazing people and created this amazing business that was all for the speakers and not for me. So it ended up running me. The business did, and it was awesome and wonderful. I'm so grateful for it, and it was done. It was over, and on top of that, the industry got flooded. There's a coaching model that I really disagree with, where people are taught to do summits to build a list, and they're building a list for the speakers, not for them. That's my theory, because that's what happened for me.
Yeah.
I had this enormous list for all my speakers, and no one was interested in me. So I scrubbed that. I started from scratch in 2016, from scratch. And boy, has it been a financial challenge. Holy crap. It's wonderfully challenging. But again, all of that challenge was here for me. And I healed so much. I definitely had some ego with, do you know who I am? I had a little bit of that going on. But I love that Jen that was there because she led to this Jen, and I like this Jen a lot.
Nice.
So so Healing with the Masters was a going concern. It was the very first teleseminar in the personal development space. I kind of invented the model.
Yes.
And it was the first and by far the biggest. And then a bunch of other people came and did their shtick and competed, which was great because it just reached more people. And then a bunch of people who weren't very good at teleseminars flooded the market, and the margins were just not good enough. Especially for my state of mind, where I was a little burnt out from that too. So I stopped that. But I am actually a little hint here. I'm rebooting it.
Yes.
On the Shift Network.
Woohoo!
Yeah. So watch for that announcement. It's coming up. So you heard it here first, folks.
That's exciting.
I know, it's very exciting. I get to throw the Healing with the Masters amazing brand with these high profile speakers onto the Shift Network. And I'm delighted and honored to play with Stephen and his team.
That's awesome. Congratulations, Jennifer. So
thank you.
Healing with the Masters and the Shift Network coming soon to an airwave near you.
Exactly.
Nice. All right. So let's get to, we're going to wind it up here. I want to talk about your Shift Network events coming up on Wednesday, September 4th.
Yep.
And you're going to share specific energy healing techniques and practices designed to help you directly access and dissolve energy blocks, negative emotions, and emotional patterns at the moment you're feeling triggered and reactive.
Yeah, you're really going to hear about what's really going on, why you're blocked, why you're stuck, why things aren't moving as quickly as you'd like. You're going to really understand it at a very, very deep level, and you're going to experience a very profound healing.
Woohoo!
Yes.
Sign me up. So for listeners and viewers, you can register for this at the mindbodyspiritnetwork.com/energy-healing-Jennifer. I'll have it on the screen for the viewers, and it'll be in all the show notes on the podcast or whatever, so you can access that. And then, Jennifer, all those Shift Network events lead into lovely 6, 7, or 8 week long courses. I understand you're going to lead into a 6-week course with that.
Yes, I know. I'm so excited. I'm really excited to do this course. I've never done this exact course before. I've done lots and lots of courses, but this is actually part of my quadruple healing multiplier.
Oh,
yeah. So this has all the elements of STT, which include attunements, sound vibration. We're going to actually clear the chakras using sound vibration and the STT frequencies, spontaneous transformation technique, which you'll actually receive a couple of sessions of that, as well as healing journeys. I did a lot of shamanic work in my 30s, in my late 20s and early 30s. And so once the STT frequencies and the STT system came into play, I realized that the STT frequency supported shamanic kind of journeys, and they're really profound because they actually repattern. They create a new story, and the mind doesn't know the difference. It now latches onto the new story that is powerful and healing. So you're going to experience some healing journeys and soul sound vibration and attunements and STT, so that you also get some attunements as well. It's a really exciting program. I've done a course for each one of those things. I've never done it in one, and I think you're going to hear this on the audio, on the recording, but I'll mention it here again.
Okay.
Do you remember, I think his name was Horton's P90X. It was a system of working out. It was like infomercials all over the place in the 2000s.
Yes.
All right. And you get really cut because so his theory was that that you don't give your muscles a rest, but you do something different every single day. Excuse me, and even during the workout. So you don't give your muscles a rest. And if the muscles do the same thing over and over again, they get used to, and the acceleration decreases and the level of workout and strength decreases. So this is like the P90X of spirituality and healing, nice. Where every week we're doing something different that's really keeping your spiritual self on your toes, if you will. I'm super excited about it.
So that's the 6-week course. But you need to attend to the event in order to get the lead into the course. And the course is going to start on September 17th, 2019. And typically the Shift Network will still let you into a course that's already started because it's all going to be recorded. So it's likely you can access that through Christmas. I wouldn't be surprised. I'll just keep.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. I'm
Nice.
super excited about it. And,
Now, are you part of their,
and,
are you a part of their Sound Healing Summit right now?
no, I'm not. I'm
Oh,
not.
okay.
I didn't find out about. They didn't find out that I did sound healing until it was already booked.
Yeah, okay, because I noticed the sound healing, and I don't recall.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
it should be a good one.
And one last thing is, I didn't know you were a shamanic practitioner. And it's so interesting, Jennifer. You know, I do this online marketing with the network. I pay attention to what web traffic looks like and what people are interested in.
Yeah.
Huge resurgence in ancestral healing, shamanic practitioner stuff. It's really pretty fascinating that it's coming to light.
Yeah.
And
I'm not surprised about the ancestral. I do quite a bit of ancestral healing. We'll actually be doing it as part of the course.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and I think it's because it's just so duh. It's like there's this unconscious.
It wasn't to me.
It's sitting in our DNA. It's sitting in our cellular memory.
Yeah.
That is actually influencing our capacity to move forward into the light and the love, and into creating the things that we want in our life, light in our life that we desire. Yeah. And so when we can clear that deep in the unconscious, sitting on the DNA, even when we can clear that stuff up, it's just an automatic. Oh yes, I feel so much better. So yeah, we'll be playing with that too, for sure.
Okay, good. All right. Jennifer, what website would you like to share? What's the best one to connect with you beyond the Shift Network and all the time?
Let's see.
I have a few.
McLeanmasterworks.com. That probably works.
McLeanmasterworks.com. Perfect. I'll share that on the screen so you guys can connect with Jennifer.
Yeah, it's clean with an M in front of it.
What?
Clean with an M in front of it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Perfect. I got you. All right. Jennifer, I thank you so much for being with us. I look forward, and we're going to have I'm going to share Jennifer's books on the website if you come to the mindbodyspiritnetwork.com. If you like what we're doing here, subscribe to our podcast at highvibetriberadio.com, and on YouTube we're at highvibetribetv.com. And it's been a joy to meet Jennifer. I think we're going to have more collaboration, my dear.
Yes, thank you, Liz. This has been a blast. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.